Hi everyone. Just wanted to share a brief Yom Kippur reflection of what I'm going to be thinking about this year on Yom Kippur. Many of us are thinking about the horrific tragedy that took place this past year on October 7th, which needs not be described, and all of the things that have resulted and continue to happen from that time and on, both the horrific tragedy itself, the hostages, the rocket attacks, everything else, the rising anti-Semitism around the world, really everything that's come from October 7th and on. So many of us are thinking about all of those somber memories and realities, and also, as it relates to Yom Kippur, thinking about the power of our souls, the power of our resilience, the power of our neshama, how we personally react and relate to this kind of challenge, how we show up and we don't cower and we remain resilient. We do the best that we can at our level to stand up to this negativity and remain being a light to the world. I wanted to add something though, uh, particularly as it relates to Yom Kippur. Again, as it relates to Yom Kippur, that besides for just doing the best that we can and feeling the feelings that we're feeling, something that we really need to pay attention to and tap into on Yom Kippur is the notion of oneness. So there's the deeper truth of existence is, and of course, as a rabbi, I'm sharing this, and this is something that's discussed tremendously in Hasidic works in particular, that all of existence, comes from Hashem, comes from God, stems from a singular, indivisible source. There's a oneness that transcends and pervades all of existence. And Yom Kippur is all about this oneness. Yom Kippur is Achas B'Shana, as it's described in the Torah. It's one day in the year. The one person, so to speak, the holiest person, the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, would go into the one place, the Holy of Holies, at the one time, which is Yom Kippur, Achas B'Shana. So one in person, one in space, one in time would converge all together as one, reflecting the idea of oneness. So Yom Kippur is really all about tapping into this deeper oneness. That's what Yom Kippur is really all about. And that's why it has to do with forgiving sins, because when we tap into this deeper space of oneness, that's when our imperfections can fall aside and we can kind of realign ourselves with this deeper oneness of existence. So what does all this have to do with October 7th? So I would venture to say as follows, that besides for the negativity that we've also seen open miracles. We've seen Israel's enemies beginning to be brought to their knees, and in unprecedented ways, some of which are unprecedented even in the entire history of warfare, and literally since the dawn of civilization. The in a very literal sense, the beeper attack on Hezbollah in Lebanon was described, and accurately so, as the most targeted attack in the history of warfare. There's never been. Yes, there was collateral damage, and that's unfortunate, but nothing, something that can't really be escaped. But as something which is designed to neutralize a threat and help bring the world to where it needs to be and a better space, there has been nothing ever as targeted in the entire history of human warfare. And yes, Israel is incredibly smart, and the IDF has amazing talents, but we all know when you try to make a project or you try to make something happen, things don't always work out perfectly. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But that's just one example of many where both human intelligence, courage, and of course divine assistance all converge to get the desired result. So what I want to say is that it's not just that the open miracles and the negativity kind of balance each other out, like where we have, some good and some bad. So there's the bad that we're upset about, but then there's the good that we're comforted by. What I would argue is that the level of miracles that we've seen is at such a level that it's not just that it comforts us a little bit. Rather, it reveals the underpinnings of what's really happening all along. That there's really, in truth, nothing ever that happened without a reason. There's always a divine trajectory behind everything that happens. And that it's only that now we're getting the opportunity to start to see some of that in a more open way. And it doesn't mean that there's nothing negative still happening. There's still hostages in Gaza. Just this week, there were still IDF soldiers killed. There was a rabbi. I saw a picture of a rabbi that was just stabbed this week, I think in Hadera in Israel. So there's definitely negative things still happening. But what I would say is that we're beginning to see a trajectory in the positive direction through unprecedented things. And what it just shows is that there's something underlying here, that the entire story all comes from one space, and we're seeing it move in a positive trajectory. So tying this all back to Yom Kippur, what I'm saying that we're seeing is there's a oneness that lies behind all of existence, and what we're seeing is how that expresses itself openly in the world around us. We don't always get to see it, but sometimes we do, and now we're getting to see it. And the message for Yom Kippur is, and what I would suggest to think about on Yom Kippur is how can we all tap into that oneness? The more we tap into and the more we lean into that oneness, the more it can flow openly and naturally into the world around us. So our hope is that we're going to see a peaceful, tranquil, serene world. Some of us live in comfortable places, and then there's some people that don't live in quite places that are quite as comfortable. But none of us are truly comfortable, either when we know that our family and friends are in danger, or even that us ourselves, who knows how long our peaceful situation can last. So what we hope for on the flip side, though, is that we can go in the direction of true, authentic peace and serenity for the entire world, a reflection of oneness in the world around us. So have an easy fast, and may we merit speedily, hey Miriam, all good things.